Of Nigeria, we have had a governor faced with two devastating challenges all within a year. First, there was the coronavirus pandemic, which you handled like somebody who perhaps was a professor of medicine even before you became a banker. And now this. We commend you, and we continue to pray for God's guidance. His Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Lagos State, Dr. Obafemi Hamzat, the Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, who just left us, distinguished senators, members, and my colleagues in the House of Representatives, the irrepressible Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Mudashiru Obasa, my Lord the Chief Judge of Lagos State, Honorable Justice Kazim Alugba, members of Lagos State House of Assembly, Lagos State Trust Fund Board of Trustees, captains of industry, invited guests, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. I was not informed that I was going to give a speech here today, so I do not have any prepared text. But I will speak from the heart. Let me begin by saying, like a phoenix, Lagos will rise from the ashes. It will become better and stronger. I am convinced that the Lagos of our dream will be realized even from this devastation. It is often said that Rome was not built in a day, but for me, the rebuilding of Lagos will be in a day. It starts today. I came in to Lagos for the first time after all that happened, I think about a month ago. And honestly, pictures like we just saw speak 1,000 words. The devastation, the carnage, the destruction that I saw, contrary to what the hostess said, moved me very close to tears. Because this is the Lagos that I knew. This is where I was born. This is where I was raised. This is where I survived. This is my home. And what I saw, particularly when I went to my constituency, the foremost constituency in Lagos State, perhaps not the largest like Alimosho, but the foremost. When I got to Surulere and what I saw, was, to say the least, heartbreaking. I went to Adenro Shopping Center. I went to Bodita Malls. I went to several malls in Surulere. I met with residents. I met with shop owners. I met with businessmen and women. I met with people who were hardworking. People who had devoted several years of their lives to hard work. Many of them cried on my shoulder. Many of them wept. Many of them wondered where they would start. The least I could do was to console and ask them not to worry. That not just God, but the Lagos government and the federal government will do everything it can to make sure that their businesses were back in shape. It is a time such as this when we recollect the saying and we need to actually prove it. We all say, and it hangs on everybody's mouth, The beginning of every meeting, every speech, at least in Lagos, the first thing we say is Eko Onibaje. And the quick retort from the crowd is Obajeti. I believe in my heart of hearts that this saying can never be truer than now. That Eko Onibaje, Odebajeti, we will rebuild this state with everything that we need, with all the tools that are at our disposal. We will rebuild Lagos. It is time to prove it that Eko Onibaje. This will not be the non-Dimitis of Lagos. This is a time when we will call, again, this is something we talk about all the time, public-private partnership. It can never be truer than now. Our Lagos will go from dystopia to utopia. It is my belief. Because sometimes things happen for reasons. And they don't just happen. They're not necessarily happenstances. They just happen for a reason. And I believe that as we go along, as we begin to peel the layers, we will find out the real reason why this devastation took place. A lot has been said, and the National Assembly has been put on the spot by the governor and everybody else. Again, when I think of what I saw when I went to my constituency, nothing short of sorrow, tears, and blood, it is incumbent upon us, for those of us who have the capacity and the ability in terms of, at our disposal in terms of government, to do all we need to do. And in that vein, the National Assembly will do everything it can. But I think it goes beyond the budget or appropriation. I think it will call for special intervention from the federal government to make sure that monies are devoted, again, not just to Lagos, although Lagos will bear the had the most devastating loss. Incidentally, I was in Port Harcourt just a week ago, and very jokingly, the governor of Rivers State, Governor Wike, we're having lunch together, and he said to me, "You guys don't start again. Oh. You had COVID and you gave all the money to Lagos State." And he said, "Yes, you can give Lagos State money. You can give them the large chunk of it, but the Rivers was also devastated. So it is going to be panoramic. It's going to be for all the states, but we all know that Lagos bears the brunt of the devastation." The National Assembly seated there is 740 local governments. In other words, the whole of Nigeria is in the National Assembly. The Ninth Assembly has a mantra which we try to abide by as strictly as we can, and that is that joint task, or rather nation building, is a joint task. So we will pull on all our friends in the National Assembly, our colleagues, we will talk to them to make sure that we don't look at this thing from a state prism or from a political prism, but from a nationalistic point of view. And we will make sure that what needs to be done will be done. We will remain our brothers' keepers, and that's what we do in the National Assembly. We will be our brothers' keepers, and we will do what we need to do for Lagos State and for the rest of the country. I thank you all for particularly the most important people here beyond government. There's the captains of industry. I see several of them here. The money bags, they say. This is time for us, and I don't mean this in any derogatory way. This is time for us to put our money where our mouth is as we begin to make Lagos whole again. Thank you very much.